Welcome to Ridiculous. I hope you're doing well wherever you're in the world. I hope you're living your best life.
Part 9. The Other Man. I think there's always been some sort of low-level attraction between us. I definitely don't think he's a stalker. We've been flirty in the past and it was mutual. I don't think he's been sitting around for years just waiting for a chance with me. We've been flirty in the past and it was mutual. My ego isn't that big. He seemed really happy with his wife at first. I don't think he chose her as a runner-up or placeholder until he could have me. We just so happened to end up feeling miserable in our marriages around the same time, and without those feelings for our spouses there anymore, we acted on, I guess, what has been between us in some form all along. The first time we had intimacy, I wondered how we had never slept together before, how we had resisted it 10 years ago. Just in case anyone is wondering, the relationship with the other man isn't all about sex. That part is great, but I just like being with someone who is not ticked off by practically everything I do, that I actually share common interests with. It has nothing to do with being sexually unfulfilled by my husband. My husband is actually a very generous sexual partner who is always concerned with me enjoying myself and would really be open to doing anything I might want to do in the bedroom. It was never about just getting bored with him and needing something new and exciting. Someone asked if I'm really thinking about playing stepmom to the little girl. Well, I don't think that the other man and I are going to get married the day after the divorce papers are signed, so you don't have to worry about that. I don't want him to forsake his daughter whatsoever. I would never tell him to choose between her or our children. I think all of the children are innocent and they all deserve to have a father. He doesn't have to live with any of them 100% of the time to be a good dad. I never thought this would happen like this. I know the situation with his daughter will now be incredibly strained and will probably be more strained if he and I are together with our own children. I can't imagine how much that will hurt her, especially once she can understand what happened. I feel really bad about it, and obviously she will probably hate me and most likely resent my children. But even if we decided to not be together after this, his marriage is probably over regardless of what I do now. Regardless of what happens between the other man and I don't know what I can do to make any of this easier for his daughter. I'm not going to tell him to stay with his wife just for the sake of the kids. I think if you stay in a marriage for that reason, it's not necessarily a healthy relationship, and kids pick up on that stuff too. He has to make his own decisions and deal with his own mess. Honestly, I'd be heartbroken if he decided to stay with his wife, but at the same time, I have bigger things on my mind than fighting her for him. I know I'm in the wrong and don't deserve to have him, but regardless of my feelings for him, nobody is as important to me as the children I'm about to bring into the world. I refuse to have their lives surrounded by a ton of drama from day one. I enjoy being with the other man. Before the pregnancy, I did often think about us no longer being with our spouses and being together in a real relationship together. I thought about it in a serious way sometimes, and then at other times it felt like it was just more of a fantasy. I didn't imagine that either of us would ever pull the trigger and divorce our spouses though. I assumed that our relationship would probably eventually end. I didn't know what would prompt it to end, but I figured we'd eventually end it and most likely go back to our marriages. I'm not sure if I thought I would just go back to my husband and keep this other relationship a secret from him forever. There wasn't a lot of rationale, thought, or planning in my mind when it came to the other man. It was usually the complete opposite of those things, or I wouldn't have started the relationship in the first place. And then maybe after the affair ended and I went back to my husband, I figured I'd either continue being married to him and stay in a strained relationship and just make the best of it. Maybe we could somehow fix things and have a good relationship again. Or maybe I divorce him and be on my own for a while, or find a new relationship with somebody I could actually be with and marry one day. i.e. an example, not a married man for sure. So I'm just thrown for a loop right now. I know I could have gotten an abortion and maybe tried to just end the affair and had gone back to my husband and tried to repair everything. I'm not saying that would have been right to do, but I could have tried to do that and not have blown everyone's lives up like this. I suppose that responsibility lies on me. I just couldn't get an abortion. I'm pro-choice. But my husband and I discussed it long ago, and I decided that if I were to ever get pregnant unintentionally, I would have the baby because I'd feel like it was just meant to be at that point. It just so happened that this is exactly what happened, just not with my husband. And now that I'm 30, opposed to 20 years old, I just feel like I need to have these babies. My marriage is over. If I'm not with the other man, then I would need to be alone for a while before I could even consider getting into another serious relationship again, let alone being with that person long enough to get married and have children. I don't want to wait that long to have children. I could be looking at my late 30s possibly. This isn't rewriting any history. My marriage had ups and downs. We had great days, then really bad ones. Being with somebody who nitpicks every little thing you do, you don't really have any shared interest with, meaning you don't go and do anything together either because you have completely different interests and hobbies, being with someone who resents you, etc. It's all very tiring. I was so tired. I did love my husband, but being in an unhappy marriage and staying in the marriage way longer than you should have can really wear away the love, no matter what good qualities the person might have. I still don't think my husband is a bad person. We just aren't a good couple. I still did the wrong thing. I should have divorced my husband a year ago, or even sooner than that. I shouldn't have started another relationship while I was still married to him. It's obvious what you think of me. I'm not a horrible person. I think I'm capable of being a good parent. As for the other man, he is a good father to his daughter. He loves her. He's involved with her life, and I anticipate he will continue to be involved, even if he and his wife are no longer together. Just because we've done this one thing that was wrong doesn't mean we are terribly corrupt people. I never would have intentionally gotten pregnant in this situation. It's not how I want to bring children into this world. If I was just focused on having a baby in any way possible, I would have intentionally gotten pregnant or at least had a baby with my husband instead. But now that I'm pregnant, yes, I really want the babies. Even I sort of surprise myself by how sure I am about keeping the babies. I guess it's one of the only things I feel certain about right now. I've received a bunch of nasty texts from my husband this morning. I haven't even responded. I feel like I deserve it, but I'm not responding to. So I can tell he's escalating what he's saying to try to get a rise out of me. So I'll respond. I just don't think I should respond. I should just let him vent. I don't know. I feel so bad about this. I honestly do. Someone suggested I lose the other man's number and never look back so I don't have to deal with years of drama. It's just not that simple. What about my 2 children? What do I tell them about their father? That I just decided to lose his number? That he didn't want to be involved with me? That he didn't want to be involved with them? Maybe losing his number and cutting off all contact could have been a good solution if I wasn't pregnant with his children.